I just wanted to say welcome to everyone who's following us on Zoom tonight. This is the Guriyal webinar, Meet the Teacher. And I just wanted to let you know that this, the purpose of this is so that you can put some faces to the names of where your children have been talking about their class and their teachers. And it's not meant for individual feedback on individual students. To be able to have that individual feedback, it needs to be in a different forum to this, as you would appreciate. And we are happy to give that if you just send an email to the school and then ask for the teachers to contact you. They'll contact you, make a date and a time that you can sit down and have a chat about individual students. So for this evening, it's really just some information sharing about what's coming up in the Guriyal Hub. If throughout the presentation you have any questions, then there's a Q&A section at the bottom, and you can add your questions in there. And there's a few of us in the background here trying to answer questions throughout. So if something comes up, you don't need to leave it to the end, although maybe it might be addressed during the presentation. But if you have a question, please put it in the Q&A, and we'll get around to answering that either in writing or as we go, or we might choose to answer it live if it comes up a few times. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to the Guriyal team who'll take you through this evening's presentation. I hope you enjoyed, everyone.
I might start with the acknowledgement of country, Ms. Butler. Thank you. My name is Mrs. Kerry Maddox. I'm the assistant principal at the relieving assistant principal for stage 2 this term. But we'll start with the acknowledgement. I would like to pay my respects to any Aboriginal people here this evening. They are the traditional custodians of the land. They pay my respects to any elders, past and present and emerging, as they are the memories of holders, language, song and dance, and they are the sorry, I'm a bit nervous tonight. the knowledge of holders and culture and our First Nations people. We might get started with introducing our hub teachers. We might start with Miss Sharkey. Do you want to?
Sure. No problem. So hi everybody who's attending, or maybe somebody who's watching this on a future recording. My name is Miss Sharkey, and I must say it has been a massive pleasure working with all of your children so far and getting to know them all. And I'm just really looking forward to a very fun and I'm sure educational year that we have ahead here in Guriyal Hub. So yeah, nice to meet everybody.
Might introduce another hub teacher, Miss Watson. Sorry, Mrs. Watson, my apologies.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Watson. As Mrs. Matter mentioned, I'm very excited to be one of the teachers in the Guriyal Hub and to be teaching your child this year. I'm a strong believer in making sure all students feel valued and cared for within the classroom. I like to set high expectations of all my students so they can strive to be their best self and reach their full learning capacity. I look forward to hopefully one day soon meeting you in person. Thank you.
I'd like to now introduce Mrs. Narayan.
Hi everyone, I'm Mrs. Narayan, and I am very excited to be working with you and working alongside your students this year. I'm also a big believer of high expectations and believing in learning in new ways and through opportunities. So I'm hopeful that we have a great year this year.
Thank you, Mrs. Narayan. Mrs. Watson, did you want to go through the agenda for this evening?
Okay, so for our agenda for tonight, myself will be talking about the hub environment. Then Mrs. Narayan will be talking about the hub learning approach. Ms. Sharkey will be speaking about the curriculum for semester 1. Mrs. Narayan will be talking about the wellbeing, in particular the total behaviour, the 5 basic needs. Mrs. Bryan will talk about library. Mrs. Matter will talk about the homework. Myself will be talking about the technology within the classroom. Ms. Matter will be talking about the NAPLAN, ICAT and the check-in assessment. Ms. Sharkey will be talking about the sport, the stage sport, PLSA and zone sport. And she will also talk about the communication with teachers. And at the end, we'll have some time for questions and answers, and there will be a post-event survey. In this section, I'll be discussing the hub environment and the setup within the Guriyal Hub. So as you can see on the next slide, the layout and design of all the learning hubs at Denham Court Public School have been designed to accommodate a maximum of 4 classes with four teachers. They have access to outdoor learning spaces, purpose-built practical activity spaces to facilitate art and STEM, and the hub also houses modern flexible furnishing. As you can see within the pictures, our hub has flexible learning furniture, which include jelly bean tables, wobbly stools, tables with whiteboard surfaces, tiered seating, and lap desks. The Guriyal's learning space are very unique and flexible. We currently hold 3 classes with 3 teachers. Through assessment and teacher observation, the class is divided into smaller groups where teachers deliver differentiated literacy and numeracy lessons in order to accommodate and cater your child's individual learning needs. On the next slide, you will see that at times we do gather together as a whole hub in a communal space called the campfire. This is where teaching and learning takes place for all teachers and facilitates opportunity to learn from one another and different teaching and teachers and teaching styles. This is a space where we teach and learn about our key learning areas. This includes project-based learning, science, history, geography, creative arts, and personal development and health. We use a practical activity space for hands-on learning, such as creative arts and STEM projects. Students have become accustomed to routines within our hubs, such as lining up in the designated spots for lunch and recess breaks, and also when going home.
So I will be speaking about our hub learning approaches. In stage 2 hubs, there will be 3 main learning approaches that will be implemented throughout the year. So in explicit teaching approach inquires children to experience explicit teaching practices, which makes a greater learning gains than students who do not experience these practices. All lessons are modeled and taught explicitly by the teachers, which then students are provided opportunities to replicate the same approach. When kids are working in ability groups, students will be allocated into ability groups for literacy and numeracy. These groups are based on data we receive from various classroom assessments. These groups are catered to meet the needs of each student. They are reviewed fortnightly by the hub teachers, which allows the groups to be fluid and flexible. Regular movement will occur to meet the need of each student in the hub and extend students that require to do so. Project-based learning is a dynamic, flexible pedagogy that may look different for every group of students in every classroom. The essential elements promote deeper learning, greater engagement, and higher quality work. This approach allows many key learning areas to be taught in a flexible approach. In the next slide, I'll be discussing concepts around David Thornburg's learning spaces. So at Denham Court Public School, we have incorporated innovative and future-focused educational model, including open teaching and learning areas alongside modern specialist teaching spaces. We endeavour to create an environment where staff and students collaborate in their learning through an innovative and negotiated curriculum designed to empower our students. We have implemented futurist David Thornburg's learning environments to guide our learning space policy. These visual images will allow students to actively consider the type of learning that is required and how the physical space needs to alter to support the learning that is taking place. The images will be clearly displayed in our learning hubs. So in the campfire space, students are learning from experts and storytellers. It's a gathering place to learn from an expert. It's also a space where experts are teachers and students who are empowered to share their learning together. The watering hole is a learning space where we learn from our peers. It's an informal space where peers can share information and discoveries. It's a shared space where it also serves as an incubator of ideas and promotes sense of shared culture. The cave is a learning from oneself space. It's a private space for individuals to think, reflect, and transform learning. The life is a learning from real world space. It's a space to apply knowledge in the real world, and it's also a space to reinforce our understanding of what we have been learning. The mountaintop is a learning from showing and sharing space. It is a place where one person or a group can communicate towards the rest of the world using what they have learned. On this slide, you will also see that Guriyal has created explicit norms and expectations of our 5 learning spaces. And the classroom norms go well and hand in hand with our learning space expectations as well.
Hi, so I'll be taking us through a quick overview of our curriculum and what we'll be covering this semester. So in Stage 2 English, students are going to be learning about writing and representing, reading and viewing, as well as speaking and listening. So they'll be looking at creating and responding to familiar and also more challenging texts and using increasingly developed skills and strategies throughout this. Within numeracy this semester, students will develop their whole number skills, addition and subtraction, multiplication and division, patterns in algebra, length, area and position, 2D space, angles and data. And throughout this, all students will be developing their communication, problem solving and reasoning skills. Meanwhile, in creative arts this semester, we'll be looking at visual arts and drama. Meanwhile, in geography, we are looking at the Earth's environment, and within science, we'll be exploring living things and their needs. Finally, within PDH this semester, we're looking at who we are and how who we are influences the people around us. And in PE, we'll be looking at working on target practice. And a bit later on, I'll take us through a little bit more in depth on sport and what we're exactly looking at in PE too.
So in the next few slides, I will be focusing and speaking about the well-being needs of our students. In Guriyal Hub, students' behaviour strategy aims to increase students' engagement through evidence-based positive behaviour support. Fostering connected, cohesive and safe learning environments requires a whole school community approach, and this new strategy aims to strengthen relationships between schools, families and communities. The behaviour strategy is a strategic, integrated, whole school approach. We believe the creation of a positive and safe learning environment best enables students to learn and engage at school. This requires students' behaviour, learning, well-being and mental health support to be integrated at a strategic and systems level and delivered as a whole school coordinated approach. So, in line with that, I will now discuss with you what are the 5 basic needs. Linking with the behaviour strategy, our school will be implementing Dr. William Glasser's 5 basic needs. At Denham Court Public School, we believe in the theory of Dr. William Glasser, choice theory, that states that all our behaviour is internally motivated. That is, it comes from within and is a chosen response to the information we receive from the outside world. We believe all behaviour is purposeful and is carried out to meet one of our 5 basic needs, which are survival, fun, power, love and belonging, and freedom. Our aim is to teach our students new and more appropriate strategies to replace our unsuccessful learned behaviours. So now I will explain to you what is the total behaviour and total behaviour car. So at Denham Court Public School, we will be using Dr. William Glasser's total behaviour car to help our students understand and take control of their behaviour. According to Dr. Glasser, all behaviour is total behaviour, made up of 4 components: acting, thinking, feeling, physiology, which is our body's response. All 4 components are present all the time, and we name our current behaviour by the most obvious component. Like the wheels of a car, if one wheel changes direction or speed, the others follow. According to Glasser, we choose all of our behaviours. The component we have the most control over is our acting. The next easily controlled component is our thinking. Therefore, If we want to change the way we are feeling emotionally or physically, the most effective thing to do is to change what we're doing. When we are in a situation that upsets us or makes us angry, the back wheels of the car take control. To make sure our car doesn't go out of control, we need to change our acting and thinking so we are in control and our behavior is what we want it to be.
Hi there, everybody. My name is Mrs. Bryan. I'm one of the teacher librarians at Denham Court Public School, and I'll talk about our Guriyal's involvement in the library. So our library learning hub is located above the administration office. So it's the entirety of the two levels that you can see highlighted in the orange outline. So the library is part of our RFF program, which is Relief from Face to Face, where the classroom teachers and teaching staff are allowed 2 hours of administrative time to help planning and programming for optimal student learning. And so I enter both the hubs, and the students also come to the library as part of that program. Also in years 3 to 6, Mrs. Guider is also part of that program to assist in the effective running of it. So with regards to Guriyal Hub, Library Borrowing Day is on every Monday, and so please ensure that your child has a waterproof, sturdy library bag that is required for borrowing. You might have also noticed on School Loop and also on Facebook that a notification of book club has begun. So check that out for further information and parent info guide that will help assist if you would like to order through book club. So here are some pictures of our beautiful library space that has been in evolution for the last 6 months and is continuing to grow with new flexible learning spaces, our podium seating, also the effective use of technology, including interactive whiteboards in the spaces. And we've also got lots of exciting curriculum-related library incursions that are set up throughout the year.
Homework for stage 2 this year will be stage-based. So we might just go to the next slide, please. Brian, thank you. Homework is beneficial, and it's I guess it meets the expectations of students, parents, and caregivers. It allows the students to practice and consolidate any work that's done in class, and provides training for students in planning and organising time and develop skills in identifying and using various information resources. And it just establishes a good habit of study, concentration, and discipline. For semester 1, with the stage 2 teachers in the Guriyal hub teachers have agreed 20 minutes of reading each night of a book of their choice. So if they wanted to borrow a book from the library, but also their book from their reading, their literacy group might come and they might be sent home with them. So if they get a book from their hub teacher, they will then track that to make sure that they're reading each night for that book. They'll also have logins provided for the mathematics activities. That will also be done as an online activity, and those logins will be provided shortly. The fun part about homework this semester is I'm excited, and I know the hub teachers are excited, to allow students to build that passion for science. They're going to participate in a science passion project, and they'll have the opportunity to showcase a project at the stage 2 science fair. More information will be provided about that. I'm hoping with all the COVID restrictions and everything else, but we would love, hopefully if that was to happen, for parents to come and be part of that science fair and allow students to really feel that they've achieved and succeed with their projects. So more information will come out probably next week with that. Thanks, teachers.
Okay, so I'll be now discussing technology and bring your own device to school. So Denham Court Public School is committed to developing skills for students to become competent digital citizens in our rapidly changing technological world. Students in years 3 to 6 are invited to bring their own personal iPads to school for use in the classroom. Classroom programs have been designed to support integration. This program is voluntary. However, we understand that many students already own or have asked for iPads of their own. We would appreciate your support for this valuable program. However, we are aware that not every family is in this position to purchase expensive technology. Our hub only has a small amount of shared school-owned iPads for these students. Please follow the guidelines stated on the Bring Your Own iPad Device student agreement form that was given to your child at the beginning of the year or could be found on the school's website. Please ensure that if your child is to bring their own device, that you return this student agreement form as well. On this form, you will find a list of suggested apps to download that they can use within the classroom. These apps include iMovie, Keynote, Clips, Pages, GarageBand, Lego WeDo, Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, and Google Classroom. Thank you.
Many questions we get regarding NAPLAN and the ICAS test and also the check-in assessment. The NAPLAN will be conducted between the 11th and 20th of May. Students will have the opportunity to capture these test questions and familiarise themselves with the test layout. But just again, it is only for year 3 and more information will be provided closer to the date. We also have a check-in assessment that is for year 4 only. I guess it's a similar type test to the NAPLAN, but it's really more for the teachers to be provided with some data and then we could then track students' abilities and then help cater to their learning needs. This test will be done in term 1, mainly for teachers' purposes, just to get a better understanding of where the kids are and what learning needs they would need, and for us teachers to cater to that. The ICAS test is a designed exam to recognise academic excellence, and students will be based on their ability to apply classroom learning to new context. These assessments are for years 3 to 6, and more information will be provided closer to the date.
This is me again. So I'm going to be taking us through some points on sport at Denham Court Public School. Mrs. Bryan, if you don't mind, thank you. Thanks very much. So firstly, I just want to clarify, Denham Court Public School will be a part of the newly created MacArthur zone for our sport. We will have our sport days on Fridays this term. So we just ask that on Fridays, students wear their sports uniform along with sport appropriate footwear. And during 3 to 6 sport, we're going to be developing a whole load of new sporting skills and knowledge along with our teamwork and participation skills. There will also be various clinic days offered throughout 2022, and many other sporting opportunities will be available for our students as well, which we will make known as they become available. And I also want to delve into a little bit about what we'll be covering in Stage 2 sport. So as I was previously saying, Stage 2 sport is going to be running on Friday mornings, and it's been designed to meet the outcomes from the PDHPE syllabus. So per this syllabus, by the end of Stage 2, students will be able to recognise physical and social changes and develop and refine their personal management strategies. So they'll recognise their personal strengths and learn to apply these to a wide range of situations. This term, we're going to be looking at a wide range of sports and mainly focusing on target practice. But as the year progresses, we will be moving into other sports as well, such as athletics and ball sports, gymnastics and invasion games. And I just have one last slide to go through. So lastly, on sports, I want to outline that all 3 to 6 students will have the opportunity to participate in PSSA gala days, as well as school carnivals. So there are going to be a variety of both summer and winter sports to choose from, and more information will be provided as we become closer to these event dates, so that you'll know exactly when they're happening and what's needed on your end and what is planned. Yeah, I think that is the main thing, the main points for sport. Lastly, I just want to outline a little bit about our approach with parent-teacher communication. Ms. Brian, if you don't mind the next slide, please. Thank you so much. So our main avenue of communication is going to be through an app called School Loop. So we strongly encourage you to download this onto your device or log in on your phone. When there are announcements and updates that are important and that we want to get out to you ASAP, that is going to be where we post them. So that will be from both the teachers on stage 2, as well as our assistant principals and our principals as well. Our office also do have a phone number and an email address, which is displayed at the top of this slide here. So if you do need to speak to any of the Guriyal teachers directly, we encourage you to just leave a message with the office, and on our end, we will do our best to get back to you between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. So ideally, we'll get back to you on the exact same day, but if not, we'll get back to you ASAP. And lastly, speaking of communication, you can also follow us on our social media platforms. We have Facebook and we have Twitter, and we'll be sharing fun and informative posts and updates on these platforms as well.
If you have any questions that you weren't covered this evening, we're more than happy. We'll be still online for a while to help answer those questions. I hope today's session provided lots of information and questions that you may have had and couldn't really communicate to the teacher with. As you can see, the Guriyal teachers are very experienced, very passionate, which they're excited to get to know each and every single one of your students, your child, just like I am. We're here to support you at any time. So yeah, if you've got any questions, just put it in the chat and we can get back to you. On the next slide, you'll see the post survey link, which is a few questions regarding how tonight or the webinar went this evening, as well as any other information that you would like the hub teachers to know about your styles. Things that maybe a learning need, maybe how they settle into the classroom, things that you have questions for moving forward for the rest of the year. That link then provides us with lots of data that we find beneficial to then plan for the future for the year. So if you could fill in that survey link, that would be fantastic, as well as any questions that you may have regarding tonight's session or anything what's on your mind, we're more than happy to answer that for you.
I'll mention an answer to this question or suggestion live, if you're okay with that, Kerry. So it says it would be great to know upcoming learning for the week with kids and what the kids did last week. We would love to be sharing this kind of information with you. We do share some. So if you're on School Loop, then you get I think it's weekly now, Mrs. Matter, is that right? Yeah, there's a weekly, yeah, so there's a weekly link that's put on from each of the learning hubs to share what's been learning, what we've been learning in the classroom, and also then some explicit details of things that might be coming up in the future. So that's in the weekly sharing on School Loop. Later on this term, we hope to be able to launch our LinkEd Hero, and that's going to be our main platform for communication with families. It's been held up because the Department of Education has gotten a bit held up with COVID-related things. So the approvals for that haven't come through as we had intended. So once the approvals for that are through, then we'll be able to have parents linking with the school in terms of the kids sharing their learning goals through LinkEd Hero and then sharing evidence of their progression towards those goals. And parents can then share in that progression, that the progress that the kids have made towards learning goals. Teachers can upload learning goals for kids and you can see their progress in real time rather than waiting for report time and things like that. We're excited about that app and we can't wait to launch it with families, but we're just waiting for that one last tick of approval from the Department of Education. We'll be one of the first schools using that application and we can't wait to start sharing the learning of our kids with that. You're on mute, Mrs. Matter.
I might ask the next question live as well. It's composite classes with the 3 and 4. They're actually stage-based. So back when we used to go to school, I guess it was, you know, your year levels, and the syllabus got taught through years. Where now the department's changed it, so it's now stage-based. So with kindergarten, you would have early stage 1. You'll have stage 1 would be years 1 and 2, and you have stage 2 would be 3 and 4, and your stage 2 classes are 5 and 6. If you have a child in year 3 or year 4, the learning that they do is still catered to their exact needs. So if they are at year 3, they will be working through the stage 2 syllabus at the beginning of the stage 2 syllabus, where when you have your year 4 students, they will sort of tend to head towards the end of the year stage 2 syllabus. So it's more stage, like I said, stage-based classes. So it's not necessarily a composite with year, or it is years, but just change the way we went to school. I hope that answers your question.
Notice that Reshna has put her hand up, but unfortunately we can't do anything with that, Reshna. You need to type your question into the Q&A section if you would like us to address a question. We haven't allowed for a general contribution from outside of the webinar, just from the teachers at the moment. So if you have a question, you need to type it in the Q&A. I'll just add on to what Mrs. Matter said about the stage-based learning. A stage goes over 2 years, but as she very clearly stated, that kids can work outside of that stage, whether they need to address learning outcomes that are below that stage or above that stage. So teachers adjust the learning within the stage, within the hub, within the stage 2 to meet the needs of every child. So yeah, you can rest assured that your child's needs will be met. We hope lots of people have completed the survey. If you haven't done so, please scan that QR code on the screen. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in. We're about to finish up this evening's webinar. So if you've got some questions, you can put them in now. And if you think of them later, you can always send that email to the school or make a phone call in the morning and get someone to make a call back to you or reply to you via email. So we're always open for communication.
I think we might leave it there, Ms. Butler. I hope you enjoyed tonight's webinar, and we all and the hub teachers hope to see you all face to face soon and get to build those strong relationships together to support your fantastic, our fantastic children and students. Have a lovely evening.